Thank you.
Hey, what's up, guys? CYT's in the house, I see. So, before we get started, I want to establish a little bit of ground rules here for all you guys and for us, okay? So, most important thing is everybody's going to get to talk, okay? So, we're going to let each other talk, and we're going to go back and forth, and you guys are all going to let us talk, okay? Now, I know that I've got more fans, and that's not fair. So let's be respectful and let everybody talk. Okay, ground rule number 2 is obviously we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to go back and forth. Obviously, we're going to do some follow-ups around Wolf Blitzer. But at the same time, at some point, we got to move on, and so we'll move on. Okay? So, Ann, great to have you here.
Thank you.
So let me start with this question. Now that Stephen Colbert has broken character, and you have outlasted it, is it time for you to break character?
I don't know why liberals find it comforting to think this is a character. I'm beating you guys, but it's an act. You know, maybe you gotta up your game. If I'm writing 11 New York Times bestsellers and, oh, I'm just faking. But I must tell you, if you were gonna fake, nobody would say, I know, fake being a conservative. It's like saying, you know, no, you didn't really kill Cecil the Lion. You're just doing that to get attention. No, why would you want to be a conservative? You're denounced, you're attacked. You're not going to be invited on most TV shows or promoted. You will not be celebrated. Why would anyone put on an act to be a conservative in today's media culture?
Well, there is a good answer.
So Cenk the Jank basically asked Ann Coulter, are you faking it? Is that what you've been doing all these years? You're faking being a conservative? And Ann answers back, people ask me all the time, you're conservative. Yes. But you know what? It's hard being a conservative. It's easy being a leftist. It's easy being a progressive. It's easy being a liberal. You just let your feelings run over your facts. Doesn't matter. You just want to say yes to everybody. Everything's got, you know, you stand for the downtrodden. You stand for, you know, poor people. You stand up for, you know, women's rights, gays' rights, trans rights, whatever it is. You just stand up and say, yep, everything is perfectly fine. Everything is perfectly, you know, there's no problem with anything. We love everybody. Anybody do whatever the heck you want. Society be damned. Everybody all for themselves. That's basically what's going on. It's hard being a conservative. It's hard to say no. It's hard to make the tough decisions. It's hard to put up, to have those positions that a lot of people just don't like or hate. Just so true. Anyways, folks, thanks for watching. We welcome everybody back, one and all. You're watching the Dr. Nasser Sheikh Show. I'm Dr. Nasser, where I give you my political prescription for my political perspective of my political punditry on what happens when culture and politics collide. That's right, folks. Let's get to some more of Cenk the Jank from the Young Turks. The Young Turks and Ann Coulter. Let's get to more of that video and our reactions to it right now.
Because honestly, it's a pretty good racket. So if you're an African American who's a conservative, or you're a woman who's willing to speak against other women, you will get on Fox News.
Well, for one thing, I specifically made a point of not writing about women's issues. I kind of agree with that. I encourage female conservatives not to write about feminism, because I think that is kind of, come on. I mean, it's not just women. It's, oh, look, I'm a woman and I'm a conservative. Oh, look, I'm a young person and I'm a conservative. Oh, look, I'm a black. So what? Do you have something to say? So, no, I have absolutely not done that. I write about history and Joe McCarthy, obviously immigration with the latest book, Darwinism. Mobs, the French Revolution, impeachment. I very specifically avoided writing anything. I didn't write about Hillary Clinton, I wrote about Bill Clinton. And people only say it's a good gig after it works. When I started out, and I think we're probably going too long on my career, which is boring, but when I started out, I started out with other conservatives. I started on MSNBC the first day they were on. And without naming names, I'll tell you, they knew the way to get ahead. And it wasn't to keep being fired by MSNBC by saying conservative things. I just happened to be practicing law, and every time they'd fire me, I said, I don't care, I'm just going to go back and practice law. I just did MSNBC because I wanted the free flights to New York. I missed New York.
Right. Well, I would know a thing or two about not being welcome on MSNBC. And trust me, it's not just conservatives.
Cenk comes back with a great comeback, basically saying, Ann, you don't hold any big position of being fired by MSNBC, what I call MSLSC, the delusional network. Cenk the Jenk, he goes, you know what? Hey, I had myself with MSNBC too, they took care of me, they got rid of me as well.
So apparently they're not overly fond of progressives either. So now part of the reason that I ask, Ann, is because you've made such outrageous comments, and you're aware of that. And I'm going to share some with you right now. And I'm trying to understand your motivation. First thing I do in an interview is try to figure out, hey, where you're coming from. And you've said that, in a lot of ways, like Andrew Breitbart told me in one of the last interviews he did, that he's a provocateur. So you say you like to stir the pot. So I'm trying to get to the essence of what that means. So, for example, there's the quote, I think the government should be spying on all Arabs, engaging in torture as a televised spectator sport, dropping daisy cutters wantonly throughout the Middle East, and sending liberals to Guantanamo. Right. So let's dive into the motivations of that. Is that exactly what you actually believe? Is that a joke? Hence, are you a comedian? Can you tell us a joke now? No, but in all seriousness, what's the motivation there?
In all seriousness, Cenk the Jenk goes, he drops like about 4 or 5 nice one-liners, okay, inside there, meant to just sort of, needle Ann a little bit. Okay, fine, you got to expect that. But then he goes, don't we all do this? You drop your joke lines and then go back to the line. But in all seriousness, in all honesty, tell us really what you mean.
There are a lot of writing techniques. I feel like I'm more of an English teacher whenever, people fixate on this line or that line, and I have to explain what hyperbole is and what understatement is, and this is a surprise. I don't think I said stir the pot only because...
that applause sort of surprised me because in the beginning, when Cenk talked, that he said most of the people in the crowd, it said POLITICON, were, fans of his, he got a pretty decent size, ovation over there. Now, I know Ann could have countered and said, is there anybody out there for little old me? She could have done a little bit of that. She didn't. So when Ann's explaining her writing techniques, her writing methods, and that she have to explain every single word, every single sentence, she got a pretty good round of applause there from people too. So that was a little surprising.
That sounds like a cliche, but I would say I write in a way that will not only entertain my readers, but entertain me. To get a book to press, you read over so much, the same chapters over and over again. This last book, I got 200 pages a month before it came out because I wanted to keep it short and readable, and it's totally readable, and I highly recommend that you all read it. It's shorter than it looks, 100 pages of footnotes. You can zip through it in the evening. It's lots of fun. But you're editing, you're going through it with the lawyers, you're going through it with your agents, your friends. I want to give myself a laugh. And this is how I talk. This is why did Churchill, you could say, why did he speak in a certain way? Well, of course you're trying to get attention for what you're saying because you're selling a point and you want to do it in the best way you can. And I mean,
So it's a
explaining to
little-
people that I'm responding and I'm mimicking this and here, this is hyperbole, this is exactly, it's just, go back to English class.
Okay.
Go back to English class. Okay. I think that was pretty well put. So this part here in the debate, I think we'll end it here. It's fairly long. We're going to chop it up into various pieces and whatever and put them out in videos. So check out the links above and below. This was sort of feel each other out, so to speak. It basically is, it looks like that Cenk is going to be doing, it's not more like an interview than a debate here. And you got two of the most, polarizing people out there right now in the political sphere, both Cenk the Jenk of the Young the Young Turks, and obviously Ann Coulter. So folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. Check out the other videos that we have below. If you haven't done anything, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, we appreciate you doing so. Like, share, and follow us. I'll leave you with my final thought, which has always been, when you're right, and when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.